Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So, got around to seeing another movie, and that movie is 10 Cloverfield Lane, the somewhat sequel to Cloverfield, but not directly a sequel. It exists in the same universe as Cloverfield, but the stories aren't related, according to what I've heard from the writer, director, producer, whoever. What did I think of 10 Cloverfield Lane? Wow. Some parts of it are a bit slow, but it's not hard to follow or anything like that. They quickly pick back up. It keeps you guessing most of the time. And just when you think, okay, they've kind of made this reveal, and you're like, okay, where's this movie going to go from here? It does a total reversal. So the movie starts out with this woman who's leaving her fiance, I guess, because she takes off an engagement ring and leaves it on the dresser when she packs up all of her stuff. She's driving away, and her fiance calls her, and she reaches down to grab the phone and gets into an accident. When she wakes up, she's in a brick room, kind of chained to the wall, and she's not sure what's going on. So finally, John Goodman shows up, and he's like, you were in an accident. I brought you here. Stitched you back up the best I could. And you're chained up because I didn't want you to move around too much and re-injure yourself. But he's really kind of cryptic about the way he says it, instead of just saying, hey, relax. This is what's going on. He's just kind of like gives her basic information, and even that's kind of vague to where she's kind of like can interpret it different ways. And if you're in a point where you're kind of freaking out and having an anxiety attack, you're probably going to take it in the worst possible way. So then he finally gets her to settle down and explains what's going on to her, and he's like, you were in an accident. I brought you here to put you back together, but there was an attack of some sort. I don't know if it's foreign country or aliens or what. But, I've had this bunker prepared for years just in case, and I brought you in here, just to, I found you on the side of the road, so you're kind of my responsibility to keep safe, and that's why we're in here. It turns out there's another guy who is a neighbor who kind of helped him build the bunker, who was there as well. She finally starts to come around a little bit, but she's still skeptical, and then, she's kind of like, I'm being held hostage, and he's like, no, he brought you here, to help you. And then she's like, well, he didn't bring you here against your will? He's like, no, he almost didn't let me in. The attack happened when I was outside, and the first thing I thought of was to come here, and by the time I got here, he was already locking the door, and, I had to fight him to get in here, and, even then, he really didn't want me in here, but, what's he going to do? So she's like, well, what if there wasn't really an attack? And he's like, no, I saw the attack. It actually happened. But before that, she actually tried to escape from the place, and she got to the outer door, and that's the part you see in the preview where he's like, don't open the door. And then, like, another neighbor showed up, and she was trying to get in, but, like, she was all beaten up and bloody, like she had some type of... She almost looked like she was turning into a zombie type of thing, how, like, your face starts to decay and stuff. That's kind of what she looked like, and he's like, don't let her in, you'll kill us all. And then, like, she dies outside the door, and that's when she's kind of like, whoa, and goes back inside, and then, the guy tells her that the attack actually happened. He witnessed it. He had to fight to get in. So then she kind of calms down, and they're all kind of living together happily for a little while. Then that's when you're kind of thinking, like, where's the movie going to go from here? Because it's kind of like, okay, they're all getting along. What's the point? So you're kind of waiting for something to happen. And then it does. And at that point, it does a complete reversal on what you think is going on in the movie. So big spoiler here. If you don't want to know what goes on, don't watch this part. I've gave you the basics of the movie. You can skip ahead to where I give it a star rating. But if you want to know what happens in the movie, keep listening. But don't say I didn't warn you. So the air filter goes out, and she's the only one small enough to crawl into the area that it is through the air duct and reset it. And so she goes in to do that, and while she's in there, she finds out that there had been another girl there before her. And, she kind of thinks that, because he had hinted that he had a daughter that she had left with her mother when they both left him. But she finds, evidence that there was another girl there. So then she kind of asked the other guy about it, and she's like, I think his daughter might have been here, and he might have done something to her. And he's like, no, his daughter left months ago. It's like, I saw them leave, and she hasn't come back. So then she, starts showing him the evidence, and then she finds a picture of his daughter, and he's like, that's not his daughter. So then they start to question, there was another girl here, definitely. What happened to her? So then they kind of start thinking, did he do something? Because this was all before the attack. What kind of person is he really? So they start plotting against him. But he sort of finds out and sort of confronts him about it. And instead of just saying, we found this and we were a little worried, can you explain it to us, and letting him have a way out, they kind of lie to him. And he catches on, and then they kind of attack him. So finally she makes it outside, thinking that the whole thing was bullshit, even though the other guy told her it wasn't. She makes it outside, and turns out there was an attack. I'm not going to tell you what all happens next, but she ends up having to kind of fight to survive, and I'm not going to tell you where it goes from there, because that'll be the end of the movie. So yeah, kind of a short little recap there, but I did give kind of a spoiler with there was another girl there, but I'm not going to tell you who it was. You have to watch it to find that out. So overall, yeah, it knew how to keep me in suspense. I mean, like I said, there's a couple slow parts, like when they're all getting along, they're just kind of listening to music and doing a puzzle and things like that. And then it's like, okay, where's this going? They're just kind of hanging out, and it goes a little bit slow at that point, and then it's like finally everything shifts around. You're like, oh, there it is. So yeah, this is actually a solid suspense thriller. It's been a while since I've seen one that does suspense thriller properly. It's not a lot of jump scares. There's not music stings. There's really no scare to it at all. It's just, it keeps you in suspense. It's a suspenseful movie. Actually, there was one jump scare, and that was when she got into an accident at the start, because it was dead silent, and then it just has the explosion of her car getting run off the road. And yeah, that was kind of loud and kind of gave me a good startle, but then after that it wasn't really many jump scares. It's not like he's popping out from behind walls like, I'm watching you, or anything like that. It was just kind of it kept you in suspense. As far as a star rating on this one, I'm going to give this one a solid 4. I probably would give it higher, but like I said, it did drag it a couple points, and that's really the only reason I'm not giving it a 4.5, is because there were a couple low points. Otherwise, this would be, I don't think it's quite up to a 5, but I would have honestly considered giving it a 4.5. But like I said, it did drag a little bit, and the story didn't have a lot of meat to it. It was just kind of is he or isn't he until the end, and then you find out something else completely is going on. So it kind of had a twist, but they kind of revealed it. Plus, it's a Cloverfield movie, so once they say something, it's kind of true. as in regards to what the attack was. I'll go that far. See, I'm going to give this one a solid 4. Not a whole lot else to say about it other than that. Definitely go check it out. It's still in theaters, should be. If not, then hit up the Dollar Theater when it goes there. Grab it at the Red Box, or if you still have local video rental stores. I don't even know if those exist anymore, but get it there. It's better than Cloverfield. I have Cloverfield right here. I watched it, and Cloverfield's decent, but this is definitely better than Cloverfield. Also, it's not a shaky cam found footage type of movie. It's actually a legit movie. Yeah, so it earns points for that too. I would honestly say it's probably one of the best movies I've seen this year so far, which is both. Well, it's not really saying too much because I haven't really seen all that much this year, but well, not I'm playing catch up I have, but there's still like a lot of other stuff I'm intentionally not watching because it doesn't look that interesting and things like that. But out of everything I've seen in the last month to try and play catch up, this is probably one of the better ones I've seen, and that's why it got such a high ranking. Yeah, definitely go check it out. It's, at least to me, it was worth the extra couple bucks I paid for it, considering I could have got into it for free, because it was literally right across the hall from Zootopia, and all I had to do was walk across, and no one would have been none the wiser. But no, I actually went back out and paid $9 for a ticket. Stupid me. But it was worth the $9. So, yeah, go see it. That's it for this episode. Those are my thoughts on 10 Cloverfield Lane. Again, as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, rate, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description and up there in the corner somewhere. Follow me on all the social media stuff. And until next time, we'll see you after the credits.